Hello and welcome to News Now. I am Fidelia Aguncha. The Code of Conduct Tribunal (CCT) has ordered Walter Onnoghen, the suspended Chief Justice of Nigeria, to appear before it in person and answer to the charges brought against him. Onnoghen, who is facing 6 counts of false asset declaration, has failed to appear before the tribunal since the start of his trial in January. He has been represented by some team of lawyers during previous hearings, but on Monday, the chairman of the Code of Conduct Tribunal, Danladi Umar, said the presence of the defendant is needed at the tribunal. At the resumed hearing of the trial on Monday, Umar said a plea must be taken before the defendant can raise any objection as to the competence of the charges or the jurisdiction of the court. Umar then adjourned the case until February 13 so that all issues will be resolved in Onnoghen's presence. Meanwhile, the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has refused to grant an ex parte order seeking to stop Justice Mohammed Tanko from exercising power as the acting Chief Justice of Nigeria. The order, which was filed by an Abuja-based legal practitioner, Malcolm Omirabo, on behalf of a non-governmental organization board of incorporated trustees. The applicant wants the court to stop the acting CJN from exercising the powers of the office. The court, however, refused to grant the order and asked that all parties be put on notice. The matter was adjourned to February 12, 2019.
The motion ex parte, which is supposed to be taken and will be with leverage until the motion on notice is taken. Now, what the court did was that the court refused the motion ex parte. And what is the motion ex parte? The motion ex parte was twofold. One, we're asking the court to restrain the acting CJ, Honorable Justice Ibrahim Tanko, from acting in that capacity, both his servant, agents, and or privy. We are also asking the court to undo whatever action he has taken in that capacity. For instance, the appointment of 250 persons as members of the election tribunal. So we're asking her to say, pending the determination of our motion on notice. But the court in its wisdom said no, that we should put them on notice. Everybody in Nigeria knows that the removal of the CJ is a shared responsibility between the executive and the Senate. Everybody knows the Senate has come out to say, look, the president never approached us and he never got the two-third majority. But the court, well, in his wisdom, will not be looking at all those, we want to hear both sides. And I would say it's based on the discretion of the court. The court has power, the discretion to approve or disapprove a motion ex parte.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian Senate has withdrawn a suit filed at the Supreme Court challenging the suspension of Walter Onnoghen as the Chief Justice of Nigeria. In a statement by the spokesperson of the Senate President, Bukola Saraki, the lawmakers said they had decided to give room for the National Judicial Council's intervention, adding that it will serve as proof of its trust in the ability of the NJC to resolve the issues. The Senate had on January 28, 2019, approached the Supreme Court to get clarification on whether President Muhammadu Buhari acted within the provision of the Constitution in his suspension of Onnoghen. The Senate also wanted the court to determine whether the action of the president does amount to usurpation of the powers of the Senate as provided in Section 292 of the Constitution. Well, still on judicial matters, more reactions have continued to trail the suspension and prosecution of Walter Onnoghen, the suspended Chief Justice of Nigeria. Some Nigerians argue that the case should first be heard by the National Judicial Council before going to the Code of Conduct Tribunal. A Lagos-based legal practitioner, GT Ogunye, while speaking on our flagship program, TV360, sheds more light on the issue.
The issue before the Court of Appeal was not whether the Code of Conduct Tribunal had jurisdiction to hear the matter at that stage. That issue was yet to be consummatedly raised before the Code of Conduct Tribunal. Nigerians can recall that the preliminary objection that was filed before the Code of Conduct Tribunal was yet to be argued. The preliminary skirmishes that we had at the Code of Conduct Tribunal had to do with the issue of service, the issue of appearance, the issue of the parallel orders that were granted by the Federal High Court and the National Industrial Court, purportedly restraining the CCT from having the CJN arraigned before it. And of course, there was a ruling on that, a 2-to-1 ruling. 2 members of the CCT holding that they had the power to go on regardless of those parallel decisions of both the National Industrial Court and the Federal High Court. These were the initial skirmishes. The issue of the preliminary objection, which I believe was predicated on the case of Nganjiwa and the Federal Republic of Nigeria, reported in 2018 for Nigerian Weekly Law Report, part 1609, at page 301, in particular, at page 341 and 349, to the effect that no serving judicial officer against whom a case of misconduct may be alleged, which misconduct may constitute a criminal offense, can be investigated.
Well, to boost the ongoing anti-corruption war, President Muhammadu Buhari has sworn in Bolaji Owasunoye as a new chairman of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC. The swearing ceremony was held at the council chambers of the Presidential Villa in Abuja. The president also inaugurated 8 new members into the commission while the oath of office were taken.
Barely 1 week after the country moved up 4 places on the Transparency International Corruption Perception Index, President Muhammadu Buhari has continued to brace up his fight against corruption in the country. Ministries, departments and agencies whose remittance into the Federation account fall short of expectations are now open for questioning. The Independent Corrupt Practices Commission will now identify agencies prone to keeping secret account. The president gave the directives as he swears in the new chairman and members of the commission, who were recently confirmed by the National Assembly.
Recent times, despite our anti-corruption drive, some agencies of government still divert or refuse to fully account for revenue generated. Rather than obey constitutional provisions and extant rules and regulations, such agencies continue as if nothing has changed. We are determined to ensure that every agency or government account for public revenue generated or expended. I am looking forward to ICPC's support both for endorsement of anti-corruption laws and submission of policy measures and directives to prevent revenue leakage and diversion. In this regard, I urge you to collaborate with other government agencies, such as the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation, towards mitigating wrongdoing in public expenditure.
President Buhari is calling for the support of the crusade, urging those who are nonchalant to key in, as corruption remains the bane of the political, economic and social life in Nigeria.
Those opposed to our fight against corruption berate us for our focus, determination, and single-mindedness. They pretend that they do not know what corruption is, but Nigerians know what corruption is. Ordinary people know what corruption is, and they support our effort and determination to fight it. The abuse of public office for private gain represents corruption in its worst form. The circumvention of public policies and processes for competitive advantage and profit is another form of corruption.
The chairman of the commission, Bolaji Owasonye, on behalf of the 9-man board members, pledged to carry out the task given to them conscientiously.
Mr. President's speech gives a roadmap for us, very unequivocal. We have a great opportunity to provide leadership to the institution, to support the statutory mandate, implement the statutory mandate of the commission itself. And Mr. President's speech clearly captures what we should be doing. Focus on sanctions, systems and processes, society, and sustainability. Basically, as you heard from that speech, we will be looking at measures to diminish corruption, measures towards reorientation of values, working with other agencies to diminish corruption, and of course focusing very closely on preventive measures. The President's speech, which is a call to action, requires us to come up with policies and proposals for government to implement towards diminishing corruption, especially in the public sector.
President Muhammadu Buhari has continued to emphasize his readiness to tackle corruption to grow the nation's economy. Since the start of the administration in 2015, over 500 billion naira in looted funds have been recovered, boosting the nation's economy and investors' confidence. Adeshewa Odushoga, TV360 Nigeria.
To security matters now, the Nigerian Army has announced the killing of 4 Boko Haram insurgents by troops of 118 and 119 Task Force battalions of Operation Lafia Dole in Borno State, northeast Nigeria. In a statement by Ezindu Idima, Deputy Director, Army Public Relations Section 3, the terrorists were killed in a clash with troops on routine defense patrol. Idima says the insurgents were planning to attack troops' location before they were intercepted. He, however, says 3 soldiers were wounded in the clash and are receiving medical attention. Elsewhere, troops of 8th Division on exercise Python Dance 3, in conjunction with other security agencies, have arrested 16 political thugs in Sokoto, northwest Nigeria. Various dangerous weapons, including 24 axes and 16 customized sticks, were recovered from the thugs. And to politics, the former presidential candidate of the Allied Congress Party of Nigeria, Obi Ezekwesili, has resigned from the party. Obi announced her resignation at a press conference in Abuja. The former presidential candidate returned ACPN membership card and all other party items as she officially resigned. She accused the party of being more fixated on money than votes. Her resignation comes days after she withdrew from the presidential race to focus on the building of a coalition to defeat the All Progressives Congress and the People's Democratic Party in the coming polls.
Their actions last week did not surprise me one bit. My relationship with the ACPN became problematic once they faced the reality of my modest financial means that I had transparently disclosed to them from the beginning. Their mistake was that they harbored 2 wrong assumptions about me. First, they assumed that I was one of those who, having served in government, would have a stash of looted public funds hidden somewhere to expend on the elections. When they realized that this was not the case, they made a second wrong assumption by believing that I would be willing to go and obtain foreign cash to prosecute my campaign. The leadership of the party became frustrated that I was not using my global network, according to them, to get some countries, organizations, and foreigners to donate money to the party, like APC and PDP always do. The more they told me that the more they said this, the more I told them that I was committed to abiding strictly with the provisions of the Electoral Act and the INEC rules on campaign finance, and was not going to negotiate any of that in order to satisfy their monetary demands. And the more frustrated they became as this went on. Ladies and gentlemen, in all of these, the options before me became very clear. I could give in to the ACPN's desperation and use any means necessary to satisfy those fellows, or I could uphold my values and leave their fold.
Drop it. As long as we don't fix our politics, we cannot get good governance. You have people who will trade their values in politics, then they will give you good governance. So we must ensure that we begin to do the right thing.
Well, as the elections draw nearer, government ministers are taking the charge for President Muhammadu Buhari's re-election bid. In a forum organized by the Buhari Oshibajo Next Level Task Force, the ministers urge Nigerians to help the president secure a second term in office, saying he has laid the desired solid foundation of a vibrant future for the country.
When campaigns for the 2019 elections officially began on November 18, 2018, 91 political parties, including the ruling All Progressives Congress, unveiled their manifestos to woo the electorates. APC government ministers in Abuja have now organized a town hall meeting to drive the next level campaign for Buhari's re-election bid. Speaking at the event, Minister for Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, recounts Buhari's success in reintegrating the displaced from Boko Haram insurgency in the northeast.
We must reflect, even while there's a lot of work to do going forward, we must remember where we came from 3 years ago. And in those short 3 years, the stability that has happened here, the people who have returned from IDP camps back to their homes. And it's one thing to lose your home and be in an IDP camp, and you don't want to know that feeling, and I hope none of us experience it. But the sense that, okay, I've left a communal gathering and I've gone back home, even if the house has been raised down, the sense that I am back home, I can begin to build the pieces again. Let nobody underestimate what happened in the Northeast. It was a war, and the first thing is to win the war, track the enemy that has been destroyed, damaged, and truncated by war. So those are all of the things going for him.
Bello says the APC campaign is aimed at building on the foundation of Buhari's 4 years in power.
You know, democracy is government for the people by the people. And definitely of all the leaders we have had in the past, President Muhammadu Buhari is the real democrat. And you can see us now interacting with the people. Look at how they feel about it. Because what? Because he has restored hope to this country. Every person you see here, man and woman and child, are so pleased, and that is why we are trying to encourage them. For this to be sustained, it is very important that Muhammadu Buhari comes back for a second time, and that's the whole essence. All the issues have already been said by the minister, and all we want is for the nation to support us, because this is a revolution. This is a movement, and if we make the mistake of losing this traction, then when we go back, it's going to be extremely difficult for us to come out of the ashes.
Less than 2 weeks from now, Nigerians will go to the polls to elect a new leader, and in addition to the other 90 parties, the APC is up for a tough challenge with Nigeria's opposition party, the PDP. Annetta Felix, TV360, Lagos.
Well, to state politics now, it's good news for the All Progressives Congress in Rivers State as an appeal court in Port Harcourt has ordered a stay of execution of a federal high court judgment barring the party from fielding candidates in the general elections in the state. Justice Kolawole Omotosho of the Federal High Court had nullified all primaries of the APC and also restrained INEC from fielding the party's candidate in the elections. The party then approached the Court of Appeal challenging the judgment. While ruling on the case on Monday, the appeal court presided by Mohammed Mustafa stated that all parties affected by Justice Omotosho's judgment have appealed it, and therefore it would be unjust not to grant the application to stay execution of the ruling. Meanwhile, the Rivers governorship candidate of the APC, Tonya Ko, has lauded the judgment of the courts. Well, still on the All Progressives Congress, leaders of the party in Lagos State have stopped moves by the State House of Assembly to impeach the state governor, Akinwumi Ambode. The state lawmakers had accused the governor of gross misconduct and corruption, giving him 1 week to defend the charges against him or face impeachment. But the conflict has now been resolved. At a special Governor's Advisory Committee meeting held in Marina, Lagos, leaders of the party, including Bola Ahmed Tinubu, kicked against the planned impeachment, saying the governor will end his tenure. Tinubu, who spoke with journalists after the meeting, said the executive and legislative arms of the government in the state had resolved to work together in the interest of the state.
As leaders of the party, we look into that. We look into areas where we have to compromise, discuss, and build the institutions, encourage the institutions to really do what is right. We have resolved. There's no question of impeachment in Lagos State. Let the two institutions, the two arms of government, communicate and continue to respect one another and build consensus and understanding. That is all about politics.
Conflict resolution is an essential ingredient of management. We have looked into the problem, and the party has directed the two arms of government, the executive and the legislature, to work together. And very soon, the House will meet and resolve all gray areas.
Well, the Nigeria Police Force has unveiled its $1 billion endowment fund campaign with a view to addressing critical police training needs to capture not captured in the federal government's budget. Speaking at the event, the project coordinator, Sunday Balogun, says the NPF endowment fund would help maintain high professionalism and maximize the potential of police personnel in capacity building. Other specific areas of intervention, according to the project coordinator, include the construction and renovation of police colleges and training institutions, building of forensic laboratories, and school of intelligence across the country.
This is endowment. Endowment is something that follows things up. This is endowment. We are not building that house to rent and take a rent. Endowment, we are building it to have a legacy, to change what is not right to what is right. And then people can continuously see. And one thing is that in endowment, you could have people who might decide to spread their funding for you for 10 years. They will look at what you are putting in place. If they release their part of their funds to you this year, then they will see. You will be able to point to them, this is what you have achieved. So see, this is what makes this endowment completely different from just ordinary fundraising.
Well, News Now will continue in just a moment. Don't go away.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
And wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the go-to app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other Paper Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
Well, let's now join Annette Felix for the latest in business. Hello, Annette.
Hello, Fidelia.
What do you have for us today?
Well, the Minister of Budget and National Planning, Udoma, says the Nigerian economy will grow by 3.01% in 2019 at variance with the World Bank forecast of 2.2% in the same year. Udoma, who was speaking at an event in Lagos, said the proposed 2019 budget is intended to further reposition the economy on the path of faster, inclusive, diversified and sustainable growth, and to continue to lift significant numbers of citizens out of poverty. He explained that inflation is expected to trend downwards to single digits of 9.98% in 2019 from 11.44% as at December 2018. Now, he said this will be possible with the improved coordination of fiscal and monetary policies, exchange rate stability, improved all export earnings and capital flows, as well as the continuation of the current prudent management of foreign exchange reserves by the Central Bank of Nigeria. Now, the CBN has denied involvement in foreign exchange manipulation as alleged in one of the national dailies. The bank's director, corporate communications of the CBN, Isaac Okorafor, made the denial on its website. The regulator noted that a story by Business Day newspaper was unfounded and untrue. It therefore challenged the newspaper to provide names of agents involved and also verifiable evidence of collusion, and the CBN has been conducting weekly dollar intervention on the foreign exchange market to alleviate dollar shortages and boost the value of the naira. Now we'll take a stock market review after this. Do stay with us. Now, even though it's a bullish start to another trading week on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, analysts have predicted a continuous bearish trend in the equity market, and that's after news that investors lost a total of 326 billion naira in January. Now, they also say that investors are likely to continue to take short-term positions, and that's until there's a form of stability in Nigeria's political climate. Now, moving on, the all-share index climbs by 0.35%. Of course, that's to close at 30,745.05 basis points, while the market cap closes at over 11 trillion naira. Now, we see that our top gainers are, of course, consumer goods sector led by Nigerian Breweries PLC, Stanbic IBTC, Red Star Express, and Custodian PLC, all making our top gainers with gains of 5.27%, 1.55%, 10.00%, and 4.60% respectively. Now, making it to the top losers today, we see that, of course, the oil and gas sector is dominating this chart. Forte Oil leading them with a loss of minus 8.47%, followed by Total with minus 1.07%, NASCON and UACN PLC. Now, when we see our top traders chart, we see that the financial services sector is leading this table, with Fidelity Bank dominating, of course, is our top trader today, selling over 36 million shares at a value of over 82 million naira. Now, that's followed by Transnational Corporation, Diamond Bank, and Zenith Bank. Now, elsewhere in the global stock markets, FTSE is up by 0.20%, and that's boosted by all stocks. The Dow Jones is down, and nonetheless, tech stocks are reporting gains. On top of that list is Apple, while Nikkei is also up by 0.46%. And that's it from here, Fidelia.
Well, thank you, Annette, so much for that update. We will take a short break now and return with news from the foreign and sports scene. Stay with us.
Corruption not in my country.
Cut. All right. What's your name again? Kemi? Yes, sir. Good. Are you ready for us for next week?
Yes, sir.
Next.
No, sir. No.
What? Look, what we need here is one who can speak fluent English. Give her a chance.
I need a angel to hold me. Hold me, my beautiful angel.
Cut! It is angel, not angel. Please, I'm done with you. Excuse us. Kemi was far better.
It's not about our rendition. It's not about our performance here. By the time she and her friends join us in our hotel rooms, you will know how far.
Can I have her phone?
She has a robust profile.
Real robust profile. I do not undercut professional ethics. It is an act of corruption. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Welcome back. At least 9 people have been killed and several others wounded when a car loaded with explosives blew up near a mall in a busy market in the Somalia capital on Monday. Confirming the incident, the police confirming the incident said some of the victims died in a building that collapsed as a result of the blast in the market. Mogadishu is regularly targeted by Al-Qaeda-affiliated Islamist group Al-Shabaab. The group was largely driven out of Mogadishu in 2011 and has lost many of its strongholds but remains in control of large rural swaths of the country and continues to wage a guerrilla war against authorities. And in sport, 15 countries were able to beat the deadline set by the World Taekwondo for the maiden Nigeria Taekwondo Open set to kick off on February 8 at the Abuja International Stadium. Contingent from Saudi Arabia and United States are the first teams to arrive Abuja on Monday for the 3-day event as organizers are putting finishing touches to preparations for the World Ranking Tournament. 150 participants from 15 countries, which include Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Côte d'Ivoire, Congo, France, Gabon, Ghana, Guadeloupe, Mali, Niger Republic, Oman, Saudi Arabia, Senegal, Togo, and USA will compete at the tournament from February 8 to 10. Well, that's all on news now. Thank you so much for being a part of it. I am Fidelia Aguncha. Bye for now.